Hey y'all, welcome to Heart of the Podcast with MSTC. I'm Mel.
Joseph.
George here.
Fortunately, Nick is a little out sick today. Something got him, so he's not going to be here with us. But we did want to do a little mini episode for everybody. So one of the things that I think is always cool, and I've seen it on other podcasts, is something called Armchair CEO. So as we've kind of seen, and we'll talk about a little bit, Joseph is a Magic player, and we've seen some Wizards of the Coast is doing some interesting things. So I thought it might be cool for us to be sort of, each of us is going to play the CEO of Konami for a bit, and we're going to hopefully make this a recurring topic, and we're going to talk about sort of an aspect of the Konami's Yu-Gi-Oh! And Konami in general. So today we'll talk a little bit about marketing. So Joseph, you're the CEO of Konami. How do you go forward with marketing into the new year and into sort of into the future for Konami?
So, as a modern day CEO, I would fire all the artists and I would replace them with AI. So that would infinitely make all the cards cheaper. All jokes aside.
Wait, was that a joke?
I don't know.
No, pay your artists.
I mean, I can pay an AI.
No, don't pay the AI.
I'm
gonna commission an AI to redraw the logo. How are you feel about that, Joseph?
I don't mind. So what I would do is I would just make cards a little more accessible by just not fucking over the printings, short printing stuff. But then I guess that would ruin the whole chase card deal. But I just want the game to be more accessible. So for me, I would make cards more accessible. I don't want to really gatekeep stuff behind money.
How would you? Your board says to you, how are you going to offset? Like, we know that people want to buy sealed product to get those individual cards.
Yeah.
How are you going to offset that?
So what I would do is I would have alternate art in each set, and obviously the alternate art will be the chase cards, and as opposed to just having the one card being the chase card. So like, we had Forbidden Droplet that was like 120 to like, I don't know, it was a 200 at one point, I don't know, probably 120, and I would be like, I would have a common version of Forbidden Droplet, and I would have like a super shiny version of Forbidden Droplet. So like for those that still want a chase card, and then those that just want to play the game.
Okay, George, how about you?
I like how you said that, because I've always thought that it would be amazing if there were two printings of like a certain chase card, like Pot of Duality, or not Duality, I'm sorry, Prosperity, and then have like an alt art or a full art, which is I really love about Pokemon, is that they have full art cards. And I think that if you introduce that, then people are still going to buy sealed product. I don't think making a secondary market is the answer. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I was a CEO, I'd let product out and kind of sit for like a year before releasing a reprint, and then 6 months after that, releasing a Dual Devastator-esque, product to, give the community easy access to these staples, which at that point aren't really power crept yet, but they're not useless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
What about you, Mel?
So I think, as CEO, I recognize that we are a company. We need to spend less than we earn. But I think one of the big moves that I would make is getting into the singles market. I would have us take advantage of the fact that we are the only people that can print mint copies of cards. We are also we're the only people that print them, so we can make a lot of older cards more available for people. And give more of an opportunity for people to engage with some of older formats and older sets. And I would market that as, we are you want to buy an older cards from us, let us know. You're going to have to pay a premium, unfortunately, but you can guarantee a mint copy. I think I would also potentially partner with PSA or a grading group to also offer that as a service. Like you want to buy a mint copy card from us and also get it PSA graded. We will make that accessible to you. We will make it so that you can have that PSA 10 card that collectors really like.
Mm-hmm.
And I would give people the ability to engage more with older sets.
Mm-hmm.
And getting into the singles market would be really important for me. I think also as a player, I would engage more with the competitive scene from marketing, like YCSs, regionals, even locals. Like do sort of a series that we can engage with the community and the places where people are playing the game,
Mm-hmm.
and take advantage of the fact that we are one of the top card markets. We're one of sort of the big four, particularly in both North America and also in Japan, and
Right.
sort of give people the ability to be like, if I'm coming into a new card game and I want to get involved because we had a huge card game boom since the pandemic. I want Yu-Gi-Oh to be front and center. I want to focus on nostalgia, but I also want to get a newer audience.
Right. And obviously, as the card game currently stands, it's not very welcoming towards new players. So, well, as we discussed this before, there's definitely a barrier to entry.
Right. And I think that's something that, as CEO, I would definitely delegate a team to identify how do we make the card game more accessible and not necessarily print a new game. So I think right now, our Konami has four avenues to get into the game. We have Duel Links, Master Duel, the TCG/OCG, and then we have Rush Duel and Rush
Which
Duel and
Rush Duel seems to be
OCG.
doing
People's
amazing.
Yeah, but it's not in, as far as I know, it's not in the States yet as of December
no,
2022.
No, not at all.
not yet.
Which
So,
Mhm. Go ahead, George.
Melt, as a board member, I do I do
As a
like
fellow board member.
as a
Yes.
board member, I do enjoy some of the points you brought up. There are some things that what you said that can cause an issue. I know you said being able to buy older cards at a premium and almost guaranteeing somebody that if you wanted for say like a PSA 10 first edition Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, right? It's I think it's so hard to get one just on its own, let alone to say I'm gonna print one or whatever. Maybe they let it pile up before they print the sheet, but then to cut it and have it centered and then have everything so perfect that you know that you're gonna send it out to PSA and PSA is gonna grade it a 10. I think that's like I don't know. I don't think that it's realistic. I think that would be very difficult. I also think that um you know like resellers will definitely take a huge hit because one, not only are the cards that they've been holding on to for ages, 20 plus years now, going to be worth less, but why would I want to buy from, I don't know, like my local, like Gamer's Choice, right? They have older cards for sale. Why would I buy from them when I can just buy straight from Konami, a mint copy of said old card, and it'd be not a used copy that's kind of been like sitting in a top loader for 20 years.
That's fair, board member George. I feel like one of the big things that we need to focus on as a company is we stand to gain no money, we stand to gain no profit, and we stand to gain no sort of presence in the community by not engaging in the singles market. It is a market that we have not been in at all. We only do sealed product and prizes. We do prizes. Us getting into this would not be us saying in effect any card is available. It's specific cards that we offer that we know that collectors will go after. I think that comes from sort of community polls that we would do of what are cards that people want access to, that they need access to, versus, because we don't want to pull value away from sealed product. Like I think that this becomes a way for us to sort of gain a little profit as well as a little sort of re-engagement with an audience by saying, similar to how other card games too, like we sort a pseudo set rotation, if you will, where it's like we do not make singles available for sets but that are younger than I would say 5 or 6 years, if that makes sense.
I see
I
what you
mean,
mean. But
there's
I also
something
think
like
that
that in Magic too.
Yeah.
There's a reserve list where, like, let's say if I apply to Yu-Gi-Oh, um, you could reserve Pot of Greed, and they'll never ever reprint Pot of Greed ever again. There's like, but that doesn't really hold up the value for cards, and that's like, um, I don't know. I don't think like a list like that would work for
Yeah,
a
I feel
system.
like one of our advantages as sort of as Yu-Gi-Oh players is we can almost assuredly know that there is going to be where there's going to be reprints, except
Right.
for one particular card that does not ever get reprinted, and we don't talk about that card.
It's kind of like it's kind of hard to be a get value off of the cards that you hold onto, because originally the game was never meant to be something that you can profit off of. It
Mhm.
was, it's just a card game.
Right.
And then we come in and then we try to add value now that we're adults, and it's hard to consistently make money out of a card game, because
No,
initially
that's
it
fair.
was never really meant to be it is now, and I'm sure Konami realizes that, and obviously that's why they do the things they do now, which is like short print stuff and like rise the prices on, like, I'm sure they're aware of the market, of the secondary market, enough
I
to
would never do that. What are you talking about, short prints?
yeah, they would never do that. No, I'm sure they're pretty aware of it, and now they found a way to like appeal to both the community that wants to collect cards, the community that wants to sell cards, and then the community that just plays for fun, casual, I would say. And it's kind of hard to like keep all three of them happy without like unbalancing one or the other. So like, for my example, like if I want to like make everything available for everybody, that's gonna hurt the other two communities in one way or another. Like there's an ecosystem already, and it's just not everybody's gonna be happy at the end of the day. Like if all cards are available, then like I guess it might not feel too special to own that alternate card, because I don't know. I want everybody to have cards, but it wouldn't feel like that chase card really wouldn't feel as much of a chase card if
Yeah,
your opponent
got it.
had comments of it or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
No, I think you both are raising good points. I feel like there is value in our sealed product. Again, I'm still operating as Konami CEO. Our
Yeah.
sealed product would still have those chase cards. This is, again, the singles market is a situation that we want to make older prints more available when, especially taking advantage of the influx of Master Duel players who might not have been playing or might not have been engaging so long ago. We want to we want to give them the opportunity to be like, I want to get a royal rare Blue Eyes White Dragon. I want to get this specific card. And while yes, it'll hurt the resale value, again, as a company, we do not gain anything from those. We only we need to want to us staying out of the singles market is something that would give people, I would argue, motivation to engage, because again, we are the only seller on any of the sort of, and this is me bringing player brain, we're the only seller that can guarantee a specific uh, near mint status of a card, because we can print it fresh if we need to. I think one of the downsides to that is we need to then reduce the amount of new product that we create, because we obviously we don't want to spend. George, you bring up a good point of like, if one person buys a Starlight Rare Blackwing Dragon, we're not gonna. It would take a lot to create a sheet just for one card versus creating a sheet of 9 and then having 9 copies available and making it sort of a. We don't want to go the Ticketmaster route and have scalpers and bots invade our platform.
But I also do feel like that would diminish the value of just buying product in general, the random product, if you can just get it off, from us, quote
Right.
unquote, people wouldn't be buying randomized cards or random packs. And
Well, I think that's why Mel said it would be like they wouldn't print out just like a recent set. It would have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be after X amount of years, that you can buy that reprinted card. But I also think if that's the case, I think that if the card is being reprinted, it should say somewhere that it is not a 20-year-old card. It's a reprint of that card.
yeah, like first edition and
But
all
then
that.
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
kind of just like defeats the purpose, though.
Yeah, yeah. We wouldn't. These would be sort of the kind of an unlimited wave, but we would have the ability to have those, and maybe we do a once in a while like special card. I feel like not being in the singles market costs us a lot of money. And I feel like that is an area that is a deliberate choice that I envision Konami is making to not get into that area.
I feel
Yeah,
like
I
Could
think
be.
if they
I
really
think
dip. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, George.
sorry about that. I really think that it's because they kind of want to give um, retail stores, OTS stores, in particular, like the ability to sell their cards, and make the, you know what I mean, that extra bit of money that that's going to help keep the doors open. Because if you remember, I think up until 2019, OTS stores couldn't charge more than, was it $100 a card or something like that? I can't remember. They weren't allowed to charge like over X amount of money, and then they could, you know. So I don't know. I think that unless I'm wrong, unless I dreamt it or thought I read it somewhere. Um,
As I dreamt it.
no. But seriously though, I think it's an incentive for OTS stores. I mean, I say OTS because they're the ones that are kind of like keeping or helping keep Konami in business, printing out these cards, setting up these big tournaments for them, raking in the money for Konami pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think letting them handle the second, the resale market, the singles market is, I guess, just a way of them letting the OTS stores make some money on the side.
No,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I also don't think that the person creating the cards, however, should be regulating the secondary market with reprints. I feel like that would be way too much power in Konami's hands. Like, if let's say Black Winged Dragon Starlight Rare, like there was a high demand for that, and it's like going for like 120. Well, Konami then just turns into a money printing machine. Not that it already isn't, but I just print out a whole entire thousands of sheets and then just sell it for 128 and bring it down to the ground. Like even if it is years later, it's like you're really bringing down the cost, and then who's getting the money? Us, of course. Money.
That's true because they really can do that. Just have
Yeah.
a
Like who
set
would regulate
dedicated
it?
just to like Starlight Rares and charge $400-500 for 15 Starlight Rares.
Which is what Magic is doing right now. That's exactly what they're doing right now. Like they are printing these sets with super alternative art, and sometimes even cards that don't exist. That these cards have like very unique effects that have a FOMO feel to it, where if you don't buy them now, might not be a chance ever again to get your hands on these cards. It's like if Konami was to print out you can only get them from them, that this one-time special edition archetype, and it's like each spell card deals 8,000 damage to your opponent on activation. It's like, yeah, and it can't be negated. It's something like that, and you're like, whoa, I need to get that. That's what Magic is doing right now, and it's like, that how does the person that make the card able to regulate the price on stuff like that? Like that's it. It's kind of like a very thin line. Or
Yeah, because I think going back to player brain, that would like Konami could artificially like deflate the value of cards, sure, but then Konami stands to make no money from that because then people just sell lower than Konami. Like
right.
it becomes like Starlight Rares are now worth $125, so everybody else now sells their Starlights for $100. Then people stop buying product because then they sort of lose the value. I think there's a hard balance because I don't like the investment side of Yu-Gi-Oh. I feel like that's sort of created a toxic culture that we don't necessarily appreciate, or at least I don't appreciate.
Yeah, I'm
But
not a big fan of the secondary market myself. I just
yeah,
want
and
to
I
play the
know
game.
that that's a huge thing in Magic. Like, there was a video that I watched from MBT. It was a Twitter thread about sort of what things that Magic or Wizards of the Coast could learn from Yu-Gi-Oh. And one of the points was that people go into Magic to invest, not because of the reprint policy. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a lot harder to do that because you can almost always guarantee that a card is going to get reprinted at
Right.
some point later on if you're willing to wait. But that's fair, and this was a nice little exercise. I think we'll probably come back to sort of armchair CEO later on and talk about some different aspects. Feel free to let us know sort of other topics we could talk about with
What
that.
would you do if you were a CEO?
Yeah,
Konami
or what,
CEO.
yes. And what would you want us to sort of talk about? Maybe you hated my take and maybe my take was completely wrong, or you appreciated someone else's take. That would
And if
be
I'm the
something.
CEO, I would never be wrong. So
Of
your
course,
take
yeah,
shouldn't
yeah.
matter.
Fire anybody that doesn't agree with me.
Exactly.
That's a
To
good
everybody that
feedback.
agrees with me.
Yeah. One thing that we've been talking about a lot this episode about one particular card game, but before this episode, we were talking a little bit about some other card games, and I'd be curious what if we were to play another card game, which Joseph has played another card game, and George and I played when we were way younger. But what are some if you were to transition right now? Yu-Gi-Oh's done. We hated what was going on. We don't like what's going on with Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm playing a new card game. What card game would you all think to play, or what would you want to play and why?
Okay,
I
so just sorry, Joseph. I need to start off because one,
sure.
there is something insane needs to happen for me to just say like I'm not playing Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. Like I am way too invested in this game. Like way too invested. So it has to be something catastrophic that it's like that that brings me to the point where I'm like, well, you know what? I'm picking this up. I'm done. I'm not gonna play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore.
All right, picture this. Picture this.
Okay.
You're waking up. It's like early morning. It's Wednesday morning, right? It's 7 a.m. You open up your windows, and all of a sudden you just see a fist flying by right into your face. It's Yugi. That's right. You can't believe it. It's Yugi Moto in the flesh. He's just punching the shit out of you, and you just don't know why. He just came flying through your window. He's saying,
Yu-Gi-Oh don't want to fight though, but continue.
yeah, but he sucker punched you.
Okay.
You don't have like obviously we all know. Had
Okay,
you
yes,
seen this
it's 7 in the
coming,
morning.
yeah,
You're still like you're half asleep. You're not okay.
exactly. He just comes, Superman style right through your window, and he's beating the shit out of you nonstop, and you're like, all right, well, this is the day I quit Yu-Gi-Oh. What are you playing?
That's true. I would quit Yu-Gi-Oh if that did happen. So okay, so you after Yu-Gi beat me up and I'm like cleaning myself up and I'm ripping up all my cards. I gotta say I'm gonna play Pokemon. Yeah, I gotta say Pokemon. Or a brand new game that just came out where like the rules are still kind of being um settled. I guess it's not that it's not complete, but it just started. So I excuse me, I know that One Piece just came out. I don't know what the premise is of that game, how to win. I don't even watch the anime, but it's interesting enough that I would look into it and probably play it only because I know like I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. I don't think that game is going anywhere for years. I don't think it's gonna overtake something like Yu-Gi-Oh because it's Yu-Gi-Oh is just like a dedicated. The anime was about cards, so it's not going anywhere. But yeah, I would probably do Pokemon. If not, try something new, like One Piece.
All right, Mel.
I have to go with Pokemon. I love Pokemon. I think that if I had to pick another one, it'd be Pokemon. Just because one thing that I really like about Pokemon that is I don't think any other card game can kind of do is like obvious for me. I played the video games first, and still continue to play the video games. So there's always this like desire to be like I want to play this. Like I want to play an Eevee deck. I want to play this deck. I want to play based on this Pokemon, and you can do that. And Pokemon has, while it has my least favorite thing of all time in card games with set rotation. I think that the community itself does a really good job of keeping track of formats. So like there's one format that I'd be really interested in called Gym Leader Challenge, which is like you get one you get one type that you play. And that's you can make a deck based on that, and they ban most of like the really powerful cards. It's like it gives an opportunity for other cards to be used. I think that
That
Pokemon would
sounds
have to.
fucking cool.
It
Gym
sounds
leader
so
challenge.
cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you build a 60 card deck of Dark type or or Psychic type or Grass type, and you play each other with them. And I think that that would be so ridiculously cool. The other one that I would be potentially interested in, mainly because it's one of my favorite video games, is the Final Fantasy card game. I don't know anything
Ooh.
about how to play it. I think it'd be cool to have a fucking cloud deck. I would love to do that, or have Tifa or Zidane or Vaughn, although Vaughn would probably just complain the whole time. But maybe Titus too. I feel like those two would be cool card games to play, mainly because of the tie-ins to other sort of hobbies that I have, which I think is what's really motivating this. Is like I have a couple hobbies that I enjoy. Can I combine them and engage in multiple of those? The only thing is I'm not going to invest in another card game. I would have to sell all of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards to realistically engage in a new card game, and my wife would kill me if I did another card game. Like, there's no way she'd like, absolutely not. Joseph, what do you think? Which one
I
would you?
mean, honestly,
Don't say magic.
um, I mean, I already play Magic, so I
Right.
guess that would be too easy of an answer to default into. Um, I was thinking Digimon, just for the
Ooh.
lack of aesthetics. I'm a big
Yeah.
into art and into like the art of a card, and if I don't enjoy how a card game looks, I'm just not gonna play it. Like I do enjoy Pokemon a lot, but I don't, and I love the art a lot, but I don't see myself playing with it. I would see myself collecting them, but not playing them. I've played the game before, and I was playing it competitively for a little bit, but I wasn't a big fan of the cards themselves. I just don't like how the um what would you say, the formula for the card, like it just looks clunky in my opinion. Um but that's me playing already two other card games prior to it, and it's probably just me being used to the old format of a card.
No, that's fair.
But
It makes
yeah,
sense.
I would play Digimon. I think Digimon's art is pretty cool. I haven't read a lick of any of the rules or the cards, but on aesthetic, I would just play that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love Digimon as a kid, so
Yeah, me too.
damn it, I should have said that. God damn it.
And then the other card game that I would think of playing, um,
Probably some waifu shit.
honestly,
High School
i- if
DxD.
if it was popular, only if it was popular, I'd like to play Bakugan. I
Oh my
love
God.
Bakugan, and there's a lot of new iterations of it too. It's a card game and it's a toy. Like, how cool and innovative is that? It's
You know,
just, yeah,
you know, you mentioned something like card games being clunky. I think ever since playing Yu-Gi-Oh, like I can't hold like a standard card like a Pokemon card without feeling like this doesn't feel right.
yeah. We're used
I
to it.
wouldn't be able, I wouldn't know what to do with with a card that's like standard size. Like, no, this doesn't feel right. Let's cut the edges on this card.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair.
I feel that.
I feel like, yeah, I definitely am. I'm reminiscing a lot with what you're saying, Joseph. Like, just Yu-Gi-Oh has really cool art, but full arts, and what you said, George, just like full arts look so good. Like, I'm looking at like a Giratina card that just looks amazing, and I'm just like, man, if only I love Yu-Gi-Oh. If only it didn't take 180 words to figure out what the card did. And I'm certainly not advocating for keywords, because I think keywords are also sort of a barrier to entry, but I'm just like, there's an alternate universe me that is like really into Pokemon and decided to try out Final Fantasy just because he was huge and he's a big Cloud Strife fan.
Yeah. I mean, I've actually taken a look into the Final Fantasy card game as well. I have a good friend of mine who he is completely obsessed with Final Fantasy, everything and anything that's
Not
Final Fantasy.
Oh,
And he he tried to get into the game, but for some reason it just didn't catch on.
yeah, I could see
The
it.
game itself, it's just it died down as quickly as it started. And bringing up to the point where George is saying if he can see One Piece sticking around for a while, I don't see that. I see it as as another game that just coming in and out. There was Naruto at one point and as popular as Naruto is, it
Hmm.
really didn't stick for that long.
Yeah,
Like there's all these card games that show they come out and they're like, oh, it's the next Yu-Gi-Oh killer or the next Magic killer, and that's and then you just don't ever hear from them ever again.
yep.
So
interesting.
I
I,
think One Piece will stick around for just a little bit, but like I don't see it sticking around for very long. Like
Gentlemen, bet on that.
most of the art cards, I'm not betting on that. Most of the art on those are almost like just I have it pulled up over here in my screen, but most of the art it just look like retrained or pulled out from the manga. It's like some of it is a little lazy, you know.
yeah,
Like I would like some original art.
no,
That's
that's
interesting.
fair.
That is
I
Yeah.
fair.
will.
Like I don't want just manga panels on my cards. I
Yeah,
want
that's fair.
original stuff.
That's like the old Dragon Ball Z game. I don't know if you guys ever like collected like the original Dragon Ball Z TCG cards. Um
No,
yeah, way
no.
back when I used to when I was when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I also started collecting it. I thought I knew how to play, but that was definitely one of those games that I like schoolyard played it because I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I just knew
Yeah,
that like, you know, Super Saiyan cards and shit like that were cool. That was I mean, if you take a look at those cards, that's literally not CCG Joseph, TCG. That's literally like they take pictures from the anime and they just use that. And while I
yeah,
thought it was cool at the time, like yeah, it is very lazy, like
yeah,
extremely lazy. That's why I know that it didn't last. Well,
yeah. I
I
feel
don't know
like
why it didn't last, but I think that's one of the reasons.
the. F-
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like part of it is like I'm just looking at a couple of the like cards and like some of them look really cool, but one of the things that I think Yu-Gi-Oh does better and Pokemon to an extent is the foiling makes it look really pretty and cool. Whereas I'm looking at some of the other stuff and it's like and it might be that I'm just not seeing it, but I just see like a flat sort of card with not a lot of like shiny stuff and it's I almost feel like for like a Dragon Ball card game knowing absolutely nothing about it, it feels like there's more it's more nostalgia pandering than even Yu-Gi-Oh does because it's like the most expensive cards are like Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, Bardock, like very recognizable characters versus cards that might actually do things. I don't know, it strikes me as strange whereas when I look at Pokemon, it's like this card is valuable to me because there's like over 1,000 Pokemon at this point. Everybody's got a favorite Pokemon, and it's not always like Charizard. It's some you could get cards from your favorite Pokemon,
It's not
and
always
just like,
Charizard.
is your favorite Pokemon Charizard?
No,
Oh, I was gonna say you fucking normie. Um,
you're right. No, you're actually you're right about the hollows. Yu-Gi-Oh has some beautiful hollows. Like my favorite like printing of hollows it has to be prismatic. I'm looking at a Jackalope and actually your Jackalope and your Time Thief Redoer, and
that's
it
right.
looks so good. Like even though the cards itself are maybe like worth $1 or two, like
Mhm.
Time Thief Redoer looks like just
Yeah,
based on the way it looks and it shines, it looks like a card that's worth way more than $3.
right.
You know what I mean? I see what
Yeah,
you mean.
yeah.
I know George, you're not a big fan of Magic, but I do believe like
No,
some of them Magic has come up with like some really innovative like mechanics that almost seem a little cheesy at times. But somehow they managed to pull it off, and it's something that Yu-Gi-Oh is actually trying to catch on with Rush Duels, which is multiple cards become one. So if you like, I have two cards pulled up right now. I mean, I'll explain to the audience. Obviously, they can't see them, but there's there's Gisela and there's Bruna. They're both angels. and the two of them, when they're on the field, they turn into a gigantic angel that's like a corrupted angel. It's
I was gonna
super
say
cool.
that's an interesting definition of
And
angel.
and the two cards themselves just turn sideways, and then the back of the card is just creates the giant card itself. And
that's
I've seen
cool.
other card games try to pull this
Cool.
off, and it looks a little cheesy, but like I don't know, it's like the cool things like that other card games don't have or haven't been successful at creating. And like Rush Duels right now, they have like this mechanic. It's like super special summon, something like that, where if you have the 3 cards in hand, you just spit out a gigantic monster that can use all 3 effects on that one turn from all 3 cards. It's like, it's a cool things that they're trying to come up with. So like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic, I feel like are the big 2 card games that are really trying out their best to stand out even after all these years.
Yeah, and I think I'm thinking about like Pokemon where they don't have to do any like their TCG is clearly not their big money ticket. Like it makes them a lot of money and they are obviously supporting it a lot, but they will never top the video games in terms of like the recognizability
Of
and the
course.
anime and the show. I think about, and Digimon has the same thing. Like Digimon was a show first, and the TCG kind of like became a thing. Whereas I feel like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, the big focus for them was the card game.
Have you seen any of the new Digimon animes? Those are actually amazing. The budget on
No,
those, yeah, the budget on those look amazing.
that's
But
good.
when I look at even the games, like the games look amazing. I really
Yeah,
want to try one of the new ones. But when it comes to Konami and Yu-Gi-Oh, I feel like they really gave up on the video game and on the anime. The animations on like I don't know, I'd say which one was I'd say the pendulum era when that started. They kind of like started giving up on what the animation used to be. Like
yeah.
5Ds was
Oh,
amazing. And
5DC
I'm
was
not even
huge.
looking at it through nostalgia goggles cuz went to rewatch them and it's like night and day between the animations of the two.
Right.
And then for the video game, well, Yu-Gi-Oh was never really a great video game. It was just a card game.
How
Right.
dare you?
So
I
that's
love the video games. They were
Yeah,
so
no, video
good.
games are great.
I don't know. I don't know if you play the newer ones though.
No,
They
well,
don't.
no,
They
not the
don't
newer one.
necessarily have the best stories.
No, I
And
mean,
like they have like a really weird walking cycle. Every single enemy is just like it's a different character. It's the same sprite model with just a different
yeah,
hat color.
I can see
It's
that.
so bad. And like for a Konami, the company that makes amazing high end games too. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I see
kind of
that.
sad. Yeah.
Well, thank you for we went a little bit off. We went on a little bit of a tangent, but we hope that you enjoyed this segment. We wanted to kind of give a preview into kind of the things that we like to do, as well as sort of thinking about what we would do if Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't in our lives. But I think we all kind of agree, like we're either too heavily invested or or enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh too much to quit it. But
Being too heavily
that's gonna
invested would wrap. What I think that's us too heavily invested.
that's fair.
Yeah.
But we also enjoy it.
I'm just
No,
clinging
yes,
on
of
to my
course.
childhood.
Well, thank you for listening to us. We really appreciate all of the listeners out there. Again, feel free to reach out if you have topics or things that you want to hear us talk about. We're happy to discuss those. And again, we appreciate you listening to us. This is Heart of the Podcast with MSTC. I'm Mel.
I'm Joseph, but not Nick.
George, but not Joseph.
And we'll see everybody next time.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah. Happy holidays. There you go.
How do I stop it?
I don't know.
There we go.